Ooh, sad. Here you have someone pretending to be a tough guy turn out to be just a second banana for Joy Behar, the poster child for Trump's arrangement. Sadly, Bob is now just another gibbering, enfeebled ninny, surrounded by inept relatives as he frets about how Trump's in power, and he's not. See, Trump's rise coincides with De Niro's decline, and the person who knows it most is De Niro. He's a fine example of how not to turn loss into bitterness. There are plenty of people who don't like Trump, but don't let it warp their minds or their ability to speak aloud among grown-ups or The View. But the shifts in De Niro's of the world are emotionally damaged by politics to a point where they can't even assess their own.
Greg Gutfeld, Fox News' Pine's Eyes provocator, took aim at Hollywood's ever-frowning icon Robert De Niro in a verbal takedown that felt more like stand-up than smackdown. De Niro acted like he was still in a Scorsese film. But Gutfeld didn't need a baseball bat, just sarcasm, sharp timing, and a suitcase full of cultural zingers to turn Raging Bull into a retirement home drama.
Last night, an elderly, confused man went missing in New York. Luckily, a band of self-satisfied elitists found him babbling on the street, threw some pants on him, gave him a stage. Oh my God.
I'm going to say one thing. Trump.
De Niro once collected Oscars. Now he collects headlines for shouting at America from penthouse balconies. He's become Hollywood's self-appointed conscience, convinced that screaming from a Manhattan skyscraper somehow counts as activism. The only thing louder than his speeches is the echo they make bouncing around the late media circles.
Robert De Niro graced the knitting circle in hell known as The View. He tried to link random thoughts into a sentence. Joy was there to wind him up, since he's played some of the most unredeemable characters.
You have played some of the most really unredeemable characters. Travis Bickle was a psychopathic taxi driver. Jake LaMotta, who used to beat his wife, and he was in the Raging Bull. Is Trump worse than they are?
To me.
Enter Gutfeld, not a Hollywood darling, but fluent in internet wit and everyday outrage. He didn't yell. He didn't even sweat. He did what others won't roast in Niro, like a holiday turkey for an audience tired of being sermonized by celebrities.
Being an actor is tough. For how does one handle real life without a script? Not equipped to think analytically, you're left powerless when observing your own predictions about life turn out wrong. It's not supposed to be this way, De Niro thinks. Only the cool guys get to win. Sorry, Bob. That's only in the movies. But at least you'll always have joy.
De Niro used to dominate the screen. Now he hijacks political segments. Like a guy who just discovered cable news, his brooding used at gravity. Now it's just an expression of a man trying desperately not to be forgotten.
It kills me. Talk about persuasive. Really, I was on the fence about Trump, and then I decided to really listen to one of the great generational leaders of American pop culture, and the clenched fist at the end, that really drove it home. It looked like he was pressing a 2-pound weight in a Jenny Craig commercial. Oh my God. Look at it again. It's so cute. It's like he found out the restaurant serves Jell-O, or that he won a $10 scratch-off, or he scored a cameo in Jersey Shore, or he had his first #2 in a week.
Gutfeld didn't attack for shock value. He aimed for truth. And when he pulled back the curtain on De Niro's routine, the glitter faded fast. Turns out shouting moral declarations into a microphone doesn't inspire Americans. It irritates them. While De Niro played angriest grandpa in America, Gutfeld dissected him like a researcher studying a rare species of privileged outrage.
Yeah, poor Bob. You know, he's like a star whose girlfriend dumps him for a bigger star who's in the White House while you're in Dirty Grandpa. Oh man. So now the resistance is reduced to applauding tantrums. Who knew De Niro's lasting role would be an irrelevant gas bag, pleasing irrelevant peers? And he's doing this as Trump organizes a summit. Not a war, a summit. And you gotta wonder, if it were President Hillary, Bob's choice, would you actually have a summit, or would you have a war? But forget deeds. What matters is adulation received from an emotional display before a packed sea of millionaire lemmings. So who cares that Trump meets with North Korea? It's no meet the parents, right?
Then came the zinger, a man who built a fortune, pretending to be others, now believes he's qualified to tell everyone else how to live. The irony was delicious. De Niro's dramatics echoed soap operas. Gutfeld responded like a Yelp reviewer taking down a $12 latte, and somehow it made more sense.
Joe clearly has thought about this, more so than his career. His choice of roles is now down to cinnamon and lobster. He was then asked about the Trump kids. At least he doesn't want my kids to take this the wrong way.
I don't want my kids to take this the wrong way, but if my kids did what these kids did, I wouldn't want to be related to them.
Gutfeld didn't use venom. He used precision. While Dyro growled like a confused boomer on social media, Gutfeld calmly held up a mirror. It wasn't even a contest. Dyro practically wrote the takedown himself, and the crowd, they didn't flinch, they laughed, finally seeing honesty in late night.
What a sad end for a great actor. He went from Raging Bull to this. You know, De Niro kind of represents Hollywood in the sense that they realize that they're losing influence with the public, and that's what's generating the emotional response. They never felt less important.
Dyro lectures about blue-collar struggles from stages built on gold. Meanwhile, Gutfeld speaks the language of rent checks and crowded commutes, while Dyro wagged his finger. Gutfeld shrugged, and the audience nodded. It was less a clash and more a reality check.
Before I get to you, let's go to, I think he was in Canada, Toronto, opening a restaurant or doing something. This is what he had to say.
And I just want to make a note of apology for the idiotic behavior of my president. That's a disgrace. And I apologize to Justin Trudeau, and the other people at the G7. It's disgusting.
You know, I actually feel bad for him because I think he's one of those people that has never been emotionally recovered from 2016. This is a guy who's got serious trauma.
The twisty on-screen gangster from Goodfellas got verbally suplexed by the shortest guy in late-night TV. And Gutfeld wasn't even swinging hard, because the truth doesn't need volume, it needs guts. Gutfeld whispered, and Dyro's Hollywood armor cracked.
Jesse, I find that he's smartest when they drop his audio. But, you know, it's kind of sad because you can see, like, people who are stuck in some kind of, I don't know, derangement, they can't see it themselves. And they're not surrounded by people telling them that they have a problem. And they lack self-awareness because everybody either tells them they're wonderful or wants to sell them cocaine. So he has no clue what he's doing. And he's upset over the emotional nature. His anger is emotional about Trump. It's nothing practical.
Then Niro didn't go out with a bang. He faded slowly and awkwardly under the bright lights of real-world indifference. His legacy wasn't destroyed, it was filed away with other celebrities who thought anger still moved the public. Gutfeld didn't bury him. He simply gave him a mic and let the unraveling happen naturally.
He is the most boring interview. He used to sell his movies on Leno and the internet, and it was like watching a movie. You just were just bored to death. All of a sudden, Trump became president, and he started saying things. I want to punch the president in the face. You know, he's a crooked piece of, and then all of a sudden, De Niro became interesting during his media tours, and that's the only way now he can get publicity for his film, is by cursing and saying.
In the end, Niro didn't become irrelevant. Because of age, he lost touch. Because he confused fame with wisdom, Gutfeld didn't attack the man. He exposed the illusion. And when the spotlight revealed more ego than insight, people finally realized the real punchline wasn't a joke. It was a guy yelling it from the soap.